Napoleon Bonaparte, the man Europe feared. The man maps bent around. The man history turned into a symbol, sometimes a hero, sometimes a monster, sometimes a joke. But the real Napoleon Bonaparte, he was stranger, deeper, more emotional and far more unpredictable than the battlefield legend carved into history books. Today we're stepping behind the myth into 10 revelations that expose the man beneath the empire. 10 truths that reveal how he thought, how he ruled, how he loved, how he almost died, and how he shaped the world in ways you still feel today. What you're about to hear isn't a list. It's a journey through the hidden corners of Napoleon Bonaparte's life, the corners most historians read past. Let's begin. One of the biggest lies ever told about Napoleon Bonaparte is that he was small. It wasn't an observation, it wasn't a fact, it was a weapon, a joke invented by British cartoonists who wanted to humiliate him during wartime. In reality, Napoleon Bonaparte stood around 170 centimeters, solidly average for a man in the early 1800s, even a bit taller than most French soldiers. So why did he look short? Simple. Napoleon Bonaparte surrounded himself with the tallest men in Europe, the Imperial Guard. 2-meter giants chosen specifically to intimidate enemies. When a normal height man stands in a sea of mountains, he looks small. But make no mistake, Napoleon Bonaparte's presence, the voice, the eyes, the authority, filled a room long before he conquered a continent. He was never small, not in body, definitely not in spirit. Behind the cannon fire and iron discipline, Napoleon Bonaparte had a heart that burned bright enough to blind him, especially when it came to Josephine. People imagine Napoleon Bonaparte as cold, calculating, a man of steel and resolve. But his letters to Josephine read like the diary of a man who loved so fiercely it hurt. He wrote her constantly from muddy tents, from icy mountain passes, from battlefields still black with smoke, and inside those letters was a side of him the world never sees. Obsessive, emotional, needy, passionate, irrational. His most infamous line, "I will return in 3 days, do not wash." Napoleon Bonaparte didn't want perfume or powder or silk. He wanted her the raw, natural scent of the woman he loved. When she ignored him and went to fancy parties bathed in expensive oils, he felt betrayed. When she obeyed him a little too literally, he loved her anyway. Napoleon Bonaparte, the war machine, was also Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who once begged his wife to stay exactly as she was, even in her sweat and imperfections. History remembers the emperor. Josephine knew the human. Before Napoleon Bonaparte, Europe was a mess. Every kingdom, every region, every tiny village had its own system of measurements. Feet, cubits, toises, stones and bratia chaos. Napoleon Bonaparte wanted order. He wanted efficiency. He wanted a system that made sense across an empire. So he pushed the metric system, not because it was trendy, not because scientists asked, but because Napoleon Bonaparte understood something simple. If everything is measured the same way, everything works faster. Trade became easier, taxation became clearer, engineering became precise, science became unified. When Napoleon Bonaparte's armies marched through Europe, they didn't just bring cannons. They brought meters, liters, kilograms, seeds of the system the modern world now runs on. Empires fall, measurements stay. Napoleon Bonaparte didn't just conquer land. Napoleon Bonaparte conquered how the world measures reality. Napoleon Bonaparte once dreamed of something enormous, a French empire stretching across North America. His vision, Caribbean riches in the south, French settlements in the north, Louisiana as the center, a vast continent ruled by France. But disease did what armies couldn't. Yellow fever tore through Napoleon Bonaparte's troops in Haiti. killing tens of thousands. More died in months than in years of war. His dream collapsed. Suddenly, Louisiana, a territory the size of Western Europe, was useless to him. Worse, it was a financial burden. So he made a decision that reshaped the world. He sold the entire Louisiana territory to the United States for a fraction of its value. That single deal doubled America's size. It unlocked the frontier, it created the country we know today. And it happened because of a mosquito. History is strange like that. Napoleon Bonaparte understood something generals before him ignored. Armies don't march on courage. Armies march on food, and armies starve. Food spoiled, bread grew mold, meat rotted. Soldiers got sick before they ever reached the front. So Napoleon Bonaparte issued a challenge. Find a way to preserve food for my armies, and I will reward you. A French chef named Nicolas Appert experimented with sealing food in airtight glass jars, heating them, sealing them, protecting them. It worked. Food lasted longer, armies stopped starving. This idea later evolved into metal cans, the canned food we rely on today. Napoleon Bonaparte never touched a can opener, but he sparked the invention that fed millions during wars, disasters, and famines. He didn't just win battles, he helped win the war against hunger. Long before he became emperor, Napoleon Bonaparte nearly vanished into history as a young, unknown officer. During an early campaign near the Po River, he walked across a patch of ice that didn't look dangerous until it cracked. Napoleon Bonaparte plunged into freezing water, dragged beneath the surface by the current. His heavy uniform pulled him down like stones tied to his limbs. He fought, he swallowed ice, he slipped under. Two soldiers dove in and pulled him out nearly frozen, shaking uncontrollably, barely conscious. Most men would need days to recover. Napoleon Bonaparte needed one night. By morning, he was back on the riverbank, studying the currents, the broken ice, the shape of the shoreline. Those observations became the key to repositioning his artillery, which allowed him to win a battle the next day. Napoleon Bonaparte didn't escape death. Napoleon Bonaparte used death as information. That is who he was. While his soldiers carried muskets and ammunition, Napoleon Bonaparte carried something else. A chest filled with over 500 books, a portable library, philosophy, science, poetry, history, mathematics, strategy. Every night, after issuing orders and planning maneuvers, he would read sometimes until dawn. He believed knowledge sharpened intuition, and intuition won wars. In muddy tents, in frozen cabins, inside flickering candlelight. Napoleon Bonaparte sat alone, absorbing the thoughts of the past to shape the battles of the future. Battles are won by armies, but wars are won by minds. Napoleon Bonaparte treated books like weapons, silent, powerful, and always loaded. Napoleon Bonaparte wasn't just a good student, he was a prodigy. His teachers expected him to become a mathematician or an engineer. He solved complex geometric problems with ease. He excelled in algebra and physics. Even as emperor, he personally corrected mathematical errors in military documents. And his strategies, the sharp angles, the unpredictable feints, the perfectly timed artillery placements, came not from instinct, but from math. He visualized battles like geometric puzzles. He solved them with calculations. He saw patterns in chaos. That's why he moved faster than his enemies. He wasn't just a general. He was a mathematician commanding an army. After Napoleon Bonaparte died on the island of St. Helena, a traditional death mask was supposedly made a plaster cast of his face taken hours after death. But there's a problem. There isn't one death mask today, there are several, and they don't match. Different cheekbones, different noses, different angles, different features. Some historians claim the most famous mask was cast not from Napoleon Bonaparte, but from another man at the same time. Others argue the original mask disappeared. Others whisper of political manipulation, that Britain didn't want his true image preserved. Even in death, Napoleon Bonaparte remains a riddle. The emperor who once ruled Europe can't be confirmed in a single piece of plaster. For all his brilliance and power, Napoleon Bonaparte had a fear he couldn't conquer: cats. He suffered from aeleurophobia, an intense, irrational fear. A man who could direct thousands into cannon fire became tense at the sound of a cat in the room. But he adored dogs, especially a black pug named Fortune, who slept at the foot of his bed and once bit him for getting too close. Napoleon Bonaparte didn't punish the dog. He loved the dog. It's strangely fitting. The man feared by nations, afraid of a house cat, and humbled by a pug. History always forgets its heroes are human. Napoleon Bonaparte wasn't just a conqueror, he was a contradiction. Romantic and ruthless, strategic and impulsive, mathematical and emotional, terrifying and terrified, brilliant and flawed. And these 10 hidden truths show the real story, the man behind the empire. A man shaped by passion, a man protected by luck, a man driven by intellect, a man haunted by insecurity, a man who changed the world in ways far stranger than the history books admit. If Napoleon Bonaparte surprised you today, wait until you see the hidden life of Leonardo da Vinci. Click the next video, you won't regret it.